Welcome to Countdown to Infinity, an Avengers podcast. We watched every single movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and now we finished. And because of coronavirus, all of the new movies are pushed back, so we are watching the non-MCU films.
That's not why, but we did.
But we did it anyways.
We did it anyway.
Well, we actually kind of wanted it all to lead up to New Mutants.
New Mutants, yeah, you're right. That was the original. And Black Widow.
And
right?
Black Widow.
They were supposed to, like,
that was going to be the
that.
reset. Black Widow was going to be like, oh, we're back to MCU. And that's all fucking...
Yep.
Is there a new release date for New
out
Mutants?
Of the water. No, there isn't.
Oh my
New
God.
Mutants has been taken off the fucking
Disney Plus
schedule again.
I
don't understand why they just don't put it on Disney Plus.
I don't understand what and I bet we're going to talk about this movie, so we'll dive into the behind the scenes stuff. But that movie's been done for like 5 years, hasn't it? Like,
yeah,
it
was like, we got the first teaser in 2017 or some shit. Like it's insane
at Comic-Con, and I was really impressed with it. I was like, ooh, a scary X-Men.
Yeah, it's got to be weird for the cast whenever it does, whenever it does premiere to do promotion on something that they were like very young.
Everyone's going to be asking for anecdotes or stories about the set, and they're going to be like, I don't remember. I don't remember 30 years ago.
This was filmed so long ago.
I was a child. Anyways, so this week we're talking about The Wolverine starring Hugh Jackman. But before we get into it, my name's Emmanuel.
Hi, I'm Andrew.
Hey, I'm John.
And we are still under federally mandated quarantine.
Right.
I got a test. I told you, right? I got a test.
You did
failed.
get a test.
Yeah.
You got 70.
Hope it's negative.
You got a
obviously.
65.
Yeah. Let's hope it's negative because you're interacting with us right now.
It's very interesting because
You
they
open mouth kissed us.
that's how I start every podcast. Open mouth kiss. I learned it from my but there is also, I don't have it. It's just a precaution. It's weird that I got a test so easily while there's a shortage everywhere else.
Yeah,
they didn't put a thing in my... Sorry, they put a thing in my mouth.
You're like peed.
You're like, before the test.
I know, yeah. This doctor was, I don't know, pushing a card and telling me that he could tell me.
Gross.
But yeah,
Street pharmacist.
We hope everyone is staying safe.
Right.
And
without any jokes, shout out to all the actual medical workers who are helping us out right there. They're awesome.
Yeah, to all the people who are listening to this while they're taking care of patients. That's an interesting choice.
I would hope not. They're listening. Oh, God damn it. All
and
right,
we're trying really, a lot of these movies that we're talking about are accessible. If you're at home and you've binged all the MCU and you still want to see more Marvel stuff, a lot of these movies are available online to be streamed and stuff. And they're all really good.
Cool. It's just not this one that we're talking about.
So we're talking about The Wolverine. Before we get into it, I would say that as Robert Downey Jr. is to, I don't want people to think I'm talking about his father. Robert Downey Jr. as he is to Iron Man and the MCU, Hugh Jackman is to the Wolverine and to, I guess, this, whatever we're calling the Singer X-Men.
The Foxmen.
The Foxmen. Yeah. Ooh, that's
Universe.
good.
X-Men.
Ooh, the Foxy Men. But yeah, what do you guys think of Hugh Jackman and how he is like a superhero in real life?
I would go a step further because I think we've gotten to the point where Iron Man, is Robert Downey Jr. is the Iron Man of our times and stuff like that. At the time when this movie came out, I would have said that I would have compared it to Chris Reeve. Like, how Chris Reeve, Superman, you think of Chris Reeve. It's the same thing for Hugh Jackman. When you think of Wolverine, obviously the character of Wolverine will pop up in your head, the comic book character, because of this design and
his hair,
not
his
the
cowlick,
his whole actual helmet, those things, those wing tips that go upwards. You'll think of Wolverine, but also you can't not think of Wolverine and not think of Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman has been Wolverine since 2000. He was probably cast as the character in 99 or 98 whenever they started making the movie.
Ripped as fuck,
and played him all the way to 2016, 2017 when Logan came out. It was a good 16 years as that character.
Wow.
And committed to it in every movie that showed Wolverine.
And successful in almost every way that you can have a pop culture icon. Not only is it successful in the box office, but the amount of times they try to reinvent Wolverine, and to the point to where he actually has kind of a climactic end or an anticlimactic end, depending on how you think of the Wolverine as a character. It's going to be hard, just in the same way people couldn't imagine anyone else being Superman. it's hard to imagine anyone else be
Wolverine.
Wolverine.
Right.
It's kind of weird.
Kind of crazy because, like, there's an inevitable future casting of Wolverine in the MCU.
Yeah, probably
obviously.
Timothy Chalamet or some shit.
The thing is, like, how do you? You're still gonna get some, like, I mean, unless it's like a Tom Holland situation where, like, oh my god, that's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The chances are very slim of, like, you're gonna catch someone else like that's Wolverine, even though, like,
There he is.
Hugh Jackman,
The
is,
real Wolverine.
If you wanted to nitpick and stuff, like, Hugh Jackman is a very tall version of Wolverine because Wolverine is very
They wanted
small.
Bob Hoskins.
Yeah, and in almost every way, and especially in this movie, and a lot of times in Logan, he embodies that real gruff before his haircut in this movie, like that living in the wild with his buddy the bear kind of Wolverine.
Yeah.
That
He likes him some bears.
Ooh, that I love. Yeah, he's like scratching
Twink.
trees like the bear, right?
I was
Like
a twink.
Oh, I will say I'm probably a twink. I had a friend categorize me earlier.
As an otter?
No, I'm a twink. I'm a straight up twink, is from what I've been told.
Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, everyone, my Grinder account is Delphin Pod. DELFINPOD.
It's just Delphin P.
Oh,
The Delphin P.
that's interesting. I wonder if dolphins pee. I know this guy pees.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, what do you think about Andrew? What do you think about huge jacked man? That's another reason why he's perfect because he's
Huge.
And he's jacked.
It was funny.
Man.
It's very ironic because, like, when he was first cast, he was like this scrawny little dude, and now, like, as the older he gets, the more built he gets.
He was, and then
Because he's big in the Wolverine, but and then you watch Logan, and you're like, oh fuck.
And also, like, in
He-
Days of
he gets
Future
bigger.
Past.
Yeah, you're like, what?
Days of Future Past.
Oh, yeah,
He's like, yeah.
He's finally got the yellow spandex on.
it's crazy because he says that when he was first cast for Bryan Singer's.
We don't say that name anymore.
The
guy.
the canceled director's X-Men movie, that he couldn't embody Wolverine because he was too happy and not that. That's the hardest part is they kept wanting to be like dark, and he's like, I'm a
happy person.
I'm fine.
dark.
And
Yeah.
he's
But
from
you're
the
an actor.
and he's from the musical theater world, like
Oklahoma.
almost
Yeah.
the opposite of what they want from like a guy who's out there killing people and live forever.
He just took his whole. He was like a one man show. Like he did a little theatrical, not theatrical, like a performance, like songs from The Greatest Showman
From
and
Les Mis.
Les Mis. But also he would throw Wolverine in there. Like he would just like after songs he would just do like the pose and he'd start getting mad
Take his
and like
shirt off.
Yeah, and so people really love
Take
that
shirt
part
off.
of his shows because
People be clapping.
after one of these big performances he would like do the Wolverine pose like crouch.
Wow.
And he'd flex and shit like that.
Did you go? How do you know this?
I was there.
Front
I
row.
caught some sweat,
Oh
girl.
my god! I hope you don't wash your whole body.
COVID. But
I mean, wash your hands, but not
your whole body.
the whole body. Definitely not your peen. You can't get coronavirus through the penis, right?
You can get UTIs up that bitch. So yeah, I'm sure.
UTIs, just drink some what?
No,
Cranberry juice.
You
You're
swim,
fine.
Jesus. You swim in the river and they crawl up those things.
Oh my god, that's not a UTI. That's like a eel.
Oh shit!
You're getting jaws
Damn.
up in there.
But think how big the thing is for Jaws to be swimming up there.
I feel like that's a movie. That's not a compliment to have a big urethra. So would you tell girls, hey,
Maybe.
I spit ropes. They call me the Froster. God damn it. Because I'm a frosting bag down there, baby.
But I spit rope. But Hugh Jackman. Going back to Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
That's the takeaway.
Yeah. We're like less than 10 minutes
of
into the
this.
pod. And
But I mean Hugh Jackman. He's a pillar of the superhero movie community. In your Mount Rushmore of
this is a fun game. Yeah,
having a
2
Mount
years.
Rushmore of the superhero actors.
Yeah.
He's definitely on
Who's
there.
up there for you? So Hugh Jackman is up there. You can only have 4.
Hugh Jackman, Christopher Reeve.
Okay.
Robert Downey.
I don't know.
He's kind of
Robert Downey Jr.
Who else would you have?
Because you only get 4, and so that's
Yeah,
why
you
I
only
was
get
like, let me
4.
hold off on
Well, I
Robert
guess
Downey.
That's
If
it.
you-
I would actually put Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, if
on.
you're talking all MCU.
I would like that if Robert Downey Jr. was actually acting in the movies.
Wow.
It's just because it's him.
Yeah.
Like I'm just gonna go up and be myself up there, and you're like, oh shit.
I can't say that that's actually true because, like, maybe it
Well,
was
then who
him
would
at
you
one
have?
point. Yeah.
I would have
You have
again
2 spots left.
Chris Reeve, Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
Ooh, this next one is really tough.
That's what I'm saying. You have 2 more.
Well, the thing is, those other 2 people haven't. the only reason I say Robert Downey Jr. is because like he's played him in multiple movies.
Like
Everybody
20 movies
But
or some
longevity
shit.
doesn't mean anything if you don't do it right.
John, you can put it
and
in
I'm not
yours.
saying he didn't do it right. But
Andrew,
I'm
after
saying,
yours, John will do his and I'll do mine.
Okay.
But I'm
Mount
saying,
Rushmore.
I just hate on how much people associate like Iron Man's supposed to be like Robert Downey Jr. I was like,
Yeah.
incorrect. Robert Downey Jr. is supposed to be Iron Man. Like he's supposed to act like Iron Man, and instead he's just like that's me.
And
Like,
now he's animated like Robert Downey.
yeah,
Like,
and
he's
that's why I
now
was
just
like,
Robert
fuck,
Downey.
like Iron Man's been alive way longer than you have, buddy.
I think John's doing it based on how prolific or how many times we've seen him.
I don't know. I think it's weird because it's like the Avengers game that
Yeah.
came out where they're like, how come he doesn't look like Robert Downey Jr.? I was
Everyone's
like,
throwing up,
like
yeah.
you know that Robert Downey Jr. made himself look like Tony Stark, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, he's an actor.
He has a
that's
goatee.
yeah.
So you have
Anyway.
Christopher Reeve.
Yeah.
You have Hugh Jackman, Wolverine.
Probably Mark Hamill as the Joker.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's good.
Well, that is a good one.
Oh, you got a villain in yours. Ooh. Oh, actually,
You
that's
see, but
interesting.
that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's like that's why I didn't put Robert Downey
Are you
on
gonna have
there.
another Joker up there? That's the question.
No,
'Cause- okay.
definitely not. He's the Joker for
Okay,
me.
right. You're not going to put Academy Award winner Joaquin Phoenix.
I just gonna just start dying.
Joker.
And you just fucking
Andrew's stroking me out.
Joker.
Shit.
Damn, that last spot's a really tough.
big spot.
It's fucking tough.
I think I have my 4.
I have my
really?
14.
Damn, that was fucking quick.
It's just all of the Justice League
Oh shit.
from this new movie. Yeah.
Damn.
I think you threw a wrench in because you put in the Joker. Because now I'm like, was there a?
Oh, yeah, we're now we're thinking outside the box, and I was like, okay, fine.
Because I kind of want.
I'm still going to keep it to live action.
Okay,
for me,
yeah.
though. Although the
You
Joker
guys
is
go.
the definitive
I'll think
Joker.
of my fourth
All right.
one late.
You go, John.
So I'm going to go ahead and echo Andrew's first 2 choices. Like, obviously, you can't talk about Chris Reeve and Hugh Jackman without talking about their characters that
Those
they
two
played.
are good. Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and actually put Robert Downey Jr. on there because regardless of what Iron Man was in the past, this is who Iron Man is now.
Yeah, that's true. He did-
Marvel,
Yeah, but-
Marvel
nah.
basically said, like,
Annoying.
He defines it.
it's annoying, but, like, obviously Marvel's like, well, fuck what you think. It's our character and we'll mold him the way we want, basically.
Yeah, that's the email they sent to.
Yeah, and
It would be like
Danger.
you know how many people would be pissed off if Batman was written like drawn like Ben
You know why I'm gonna
Affleck
say
now?
that?
Yeah.
People are like fuck this. Like that's not Batman. Fuck
here's the
that.
thing, though. Is like, I'm going to go ahead and say that, like,
Oh
before...
shit! You're gonna put Ben Affleck up.
No. Before Iron Man, before Iron Man the movie,
Yeah.
Iron Man was a B-list character. Robert Downey Jr. made the character himself an A-list character.
And some would
in
say-
both in comics
I just
and
think that
in movies.
you're not an Iron Man fan. That you're Robert Downey. Like most people in the world aren't Iron Man fans. They're Robert Downey Jr.
That's
fans.
true.
And
That's
I think
true.
that it's like the way people were like, oh, I've been a Marvel fan all my life. I was like, no, you haven't. You were a Marvel fan in 2008 when the first Iron Man movie came out.
When Obama won.
Right.
I can't
And so-
challenge that because I've never been...
It's not. It's never. And you can't convince me otherwise that that's why he's popular because he's Robert Downey Jr.
Robert Downey
It's not-
Jr.,
It's
yeah.
not the popularity of Iron Man. They could have had him play Captain America for all the fuck you care, and the people would have been like, "Oh man,
Yeah.
he's Captain America."
Again, Iron Man is Iron Man, and it's Robert Downey Jr. is my third one.
Yeah.
Number 4 will be Patrick Stewart as Professor X.
Oh, that's a pretty good one.
That is a good one.
Because he also not just in a lot of ways, people just think like that was such good casting in a way because he not only has all of the experience of being like this great English actor, but like he looks a lot like.
It's also like it, but it's
Professor
also
X.
like he's also played him outside of the movies too in voiceover things that are X-Men related, but not movie X-Men related. So
right.
like I think that's pretty cool.
Kelsey
Here's-
Grammer,
here's mine.
Beast. I'm just kidding.
And they're all Joker. Kidding.
Oh,
No.
shit.
I think I can't say anything against Wolverine because I think we're about to talk about it on this podcast fully, but yeah, I think there will be a lot of hard work to find someone to replace him, but I think he also has a really fantastic arc.
Ooh, I have my fourth one. Okay.
He has a fantastic arc in all the movies he's in, including especially Logan, but even from the beginning, the first X-Men, and how often they tried to get him to basically carry the rest of
He
the
comes
X-Men
out in
movies.
all of them
Right.
minus Dark Phoenix.
That's true. Oh man, that's such a bummer actually.
I
'cause
know.
he
I told
wasn't-
John. I said that I fucking hate that he wasn't in Dark Phoenix.
You're right, because I remember
in a flashback.
Yeah,
something.
we just talked about Futures Past too, like, and that was such a good part of not Futures Past, First Class, and I was like, man, that was
Yeah,
like
fuck yourself.
one of the
Yeah.
best parts. Yeah,
He was
fuck
also
yourself.
in Apocalypse too.
Oh,
Apocalypse.
I am gonna put Heath Ledger's Joker up there. I think
Okay.
I think he's pretty good in it, and I think that
It's a definitive live action.
it's
one.
yeah, but
Yeah.
the only thing is he only does it once, and and not his fault, but that's that's something that is that I think I'm taking into consideration. If you do it often, that you like Robert Downey Jr., like you have defined the role because you
define the
been
role.
in it. So that's why I'm gonna have to put him there too.
Heath Ledger, Hugh Jackman. Okay, 2 H's.
Robert Downey Jr. And then fourth, I think you got to go with Mr. Incredible from The Incredibles, baby. Okay. Bob.
Interesting. Okay.
Bob Parr.
I forgot his last Bob Parr. That was the same. What
Bob
was his last name?
My fourth one is Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's just because, like,
that's definitive in a way.
To me, I think she has the potential to evolve the character. Like, it's been, I mean,
it's ongoing.
Right? Also, she's pretty young as a character. She was created fairly recently.
And you're right, made for TV and film.
And I think that she has the potential to make it even crazy. I mean, Birds of Prey didn't do that hot at the box office.
You know who I wanted to put there, but I haven't seen all of the series, is Swamp.
Swamp Thing?
Yeah. Was that good?
You Make My Heart Sing?
No, I
just feel like
I like Swamp Thing.
It's one of my favorite characters, but I don't know.
The runner-up to Patrick Stewart's place, in my opinion, would have been
Ian McKellen.
Wesley Snipes as Blade.
Oh.
I was thinking about putting him there, but I didn't.
Because now you can't also not think of, again, like these the ones that I said, like you can't not think of those without thinking of the characters they play.
Yeah.
Like in Wesley Snipes, yes, it's fun to think that Wesley Snipes, two things come into my mind when I think of Wesley Snipes.
Demolition Man?
Demolition Man, yeah.
Oh.
And no, not the taxi evasion.
Tax fraud.
I thought that's what you were saying. Blade and tax fraud.
No, Demolition Man and Blade. Like those are the things that come in my mind.
Yeah. Me too. Yeah. And it's going to be interesting too. I know we talked about Superman, Christopher Reeve. I wonder if anyone will ever step into the Superman role in a prolific way. Because I guess Henry Cavill has been in it in 3 movies now. And I think other than Christopher Reeve, that's the most anyone else has been Superman in a movie. Right? Is
That's
it Henry
true.
Cavill?
Yeah, Cavill.
I
don't think he's okay. Cool. Let's go on. This isn't the Superman podcast.
No, but yeah, I know. But here's the only thing before we go into the Wolverine is and this isn't the way he acts, but I just feel like I liked Christopher Reeve's Superman. Like I actually liked him, and in Henry Cavill's Superman, I felt really sorry for him a lot in his movies, and I was like, man, how devastating. And then he straight up dies, and you're like, well, man.
But you just explained why one is an easier choice to pick than the other one.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah,
let's get a happy Superman up there. Let's get Robert Downey Jr.
I don't think it has
Superman.
anything to do with the happy thing. It's just like, which one do you believe more as Superman than the other? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I guess so. Like,
that's true, because they really did go hard into Superman as an alien.
Or as a savior
in
anything.
Have anything. Or God, you're right. Yeah.
Well, because there's different shades to. Well, we'll just touch on this briefly, real quick.
Yeah. But
different shades to Superman. Like, and Drew's helped me to understand this too. Whenever it comes to criticizing the quote unquote Snyderverse of the whole DC stuff, but there's different shades to every character, and I think Cavill plays a different shade to the character than Reeve does. That being said, Reeve, I think, personifies and embodies the character more because he's a little bit more fully formed, and that's the character you're literally getting off of the pages, as opposed to an alternate or beginner status that the Cavill Superman takes. I guess.
Reeves' Superman movies. Is that how you say it? Superman movies. Superman.
Yeah.
They are very fantastical. In a way, like they were formative for youth, and a lot of times the first Superman movies I watched were his movies.
They lean into the absurdity as opposed to trying to ground it.
Yeah,
because
he spins around the world.
Right? Yeah, they don't try to ground them like the way movies nowadays. Because everything nowadays you have to have.
He stops an earthquake.
Right.
It's insane things, but yeah, it's a very different time. But I like that. Like it's interesting.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Anyways.
All of those actors that we all said though, between all three of us
they're good.
They're very
Bob Parr.
That's them.
Yeah. I only threw in The Incredibles because I think that was a new, and I wish I could just say the whole Incredibles family, because that I think was a turning point in, I don't know, like in that retro superhero kind of thing. And not only that, they have a really good theme that I think rivals everything else.
Bro, we went on the Incredibles, and that's what played. That's what played the entire way.
That's going to be a live action movie at some point. Pixar is not yet doing live actions of their things, but
you think The Incredibles is going to be a live action?
The Incredibles is the best
set in the 70s. What?
The Incredibles is the best Fantastic Four movie that is out right now.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Oh man. Anyways, let's talk about the Wolverines now that we talked about all kinds of shit.
Mount Rushmore.
No, let's let's do what's the opposite of Mount Rushmore? The ocean, whatever the deepest trench. What's the opposite?
Mariana Trench?
Let's talk about the Mariana Trench of superheroes, the worst ones.
And only has one face as opposed to four.
Let's do our one-faced trench of the worst superhero movies. No, but let's talk about the Wolverine. So this movie, oh shit.
James Mangold, 2013.
Yes, James Mangold, 2013.
Based off of the Wolverine graphic novel.
Or the limited series from Frank Miller and Chris Claremont from 1982.
It is like the beginnings of the end for Wolverine.
Right, yeah.
In this movie.
Also based confusingly on a very early Wolverine storyline.
This movie starts with a flashback that is a dream that is
within a dream.
Within a dream.
It's an inception
It's
thing.
Nagasaki, right? And
It's
then
Nagasaki,
it goes to
which
Jean
is-
Grey.
Yeah, basically, Japanese soldiers killing themselves before
Harakiri.
a bomb hits, and it's very dark.
Before the bomb
isn't it
hits.
like an insane beginning of a movie? I watched this in theaters, and I was young. I was like, and my parents were like, "Oh fuck!"
It is a very...
I heard them. They were like,
Who was this movie?
2013.
That's not the you.
Oh, yeah.
You watched this movie. also, they took you to a movie at 23. You're a grown ass man.
I'm like 18 years old.
You were like, oh yeah, Gene, you look so good, and your parents are like,
My mom covered my eyeballs, and she had to move her arm up because I was taller than her, and she was like, "Oh fuck!"
Well, and the original theatrical release was PG-13 or R.
I
That's
guess
PG-13.
and that was
Okay.
surprised me when John said that. I was like, "Oh, this movie was pretty hardcore."
Because the uncut one, you get like a fucking
Uncut.
a wood chipper like spraying out blood,
Oh,
and you're like, oh
shit.
man, this
Yeah,
is like
yeah, you
so
didn't
much
see that
more
part, yeah.
violent.
No, I didn't see that part.
And
But
then every
so-
time Wolverine slashes someone, like blood
cuts it
sprays
out.
out.
A bunch of and so again,
it's the tendencies that
theatrical cut, PG-13.
and I think that's Mangold wanted to do.
serious,
Yeah.
dark. Well, because he said that Wolverine, like he kind of threw a lot of one-liners in the original. That what do you expect? Yellow spandex or like, you're a dick.
Well,
Yeah.
even like
And
X-Men
he was
Origins
funny
Wolverine
and-
is like like it's super.
We don't
'cause
talk
this
about
is-
that one.
So we'll say that like let's go into ROTS mode
It's
here
funny
for a
because
second.
the Mariana Trench. It's funny,
Origins is
ironically,
there, yeah.
Wolverine, Hugh Jackman from
Yeah.
Wolverine Origins.
So we
at
can
the bottom.
get this out of the way.
Same guy.
Not all of these stories with Wolverine are hits. There you go, cinematically. But this movie is a standalone sequel to X-Men Origins Wolverine. X-Men Origins Wolverine is, I think, the best known, other than Logan, Wolverine movie of this whole franchise. Because everyone, whenever you talk about Wolverine, I've talked about it with random people at the shop. Like, oh, have you seen the Wolverine movie? And just using words like that, they're like, oh yeah, the one where he fights his brother, and you're just like, no, not that one.
I was a little confused when you told me to watch this movie as well, because I was like, "Oh, is that the one with Sabretooth?"
Well, Sabretooth, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Because I forgot about that. But yeah, you're about to go into the idea of spin-offs after X-Men was a huge hit.
Right.
And I think they had like planned for Storm to have
For
one.
Storm, for Magneto. The Wolverine one came kind of, I don't want to say naturally, but it just comes from, Hugh Jackman's star power and people wanting to work with him. And also because X-Men Origins Wolverine is a very different movie. The first, Wolverine movie, because there's a Wolverine trilogy now if you kind of take it that way. The first one is very, very much of its time. I don't want to call it goofy because, there's still, after X-Men 3 and, even around the time that it was being made, there was MCU movies obviously coming out, but like they were still... The Wolverine is very not. It's serious, but it's not serious.
Yeah, it's
like what Drew said. Like there's one-liners in it. There's his claws are CG because they're huge, like over the top.
Wow.
And and then like he has like it's. So like I don't really want to say too much about that movie because we're not really focusing on it. But the Wolverine is basically what X-Men Origins Wolverine I think wanted to be. The Wolverine comes from a place I think I remember following the production and being surprised that they were kind of doing another Wolverine movie because I was like, well,
after the first one,
the first one was kind of didn't age too well, and you're like, oh, this is kind of weird. And then you heard that they were going to do the Japan storyline, which was hinted at the very end of X-Men Origins Wolverine, and the Japan storyline is a very serious non-mutant-y storyline of Wolverine.
That was all because this is like reverse Avengers is the strategy because they're all together fighting the biggest stakes in the world in all these X-Men movies, and we are now with Origins breaking it off into
Spin-offs, yeah.
and so the stakes have to be low because if not you would need the rest of the X-Men to come together. And I think that's what's really interesting about this movie that we're about to talk about in particular is the stakes are fairly low and they're really just for the Wolverine, Hugh Jackman, and of course, all these extra characters that we have now. But I don't know about that strategy. But I will say, because they started with Wolverine, we already put him on our Mount Rushmore, but he is probably the most... He would have been the one to draw in the biggest audience from all of the different X-Men.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I think, like, even now, I mean, even if you were to put Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in a movie now, in an MCU movie, you'd make bank.
Well, and
like, it would be like,
oh, man.
he would blow the doors off there. Everyone would lose their minds.
Yeah.
I'm surprised none of us put J.K. Simmons on the Mount Rushmore thing.
Ooh, he would have been good.
Like
perfect.
perfect.
casting.
J. Jonah Jameson. But John's right. If they were to rip... because obviously the MCU is about to get into some trippy stuff with some Scarlet Witch and Vision and Doctor Strange type of stuff. So if they could, could you imagine? I remember Blink from Days of Future Past. If she opened a portal to the MCU and threw Wolverine through, people would lose their shit. Like, I'm talking, it would probably outgross Endgame.
Yeah,
it would probably outgross Endgame easily because of that cameo.
Yeah, you're talking about Hugh Jackman Wolverine.
Yeah, if he were to come out and like they found a way to somehow rip him out of, because the X-Men timeline is already super fucking ridiculous, and I was telling John, like, what the fuck is going on?
They erased everything already.
Yeah, well, and like, how did Patrick Stewart come back? Did he clone himself? Did he
Deadpool even erased some of it himself?
Yeah, exactly. And so you're like, what the fuck is going on? And so the X-Men timeline is such a convoluted mess. I mean, in a good way, I guess, because most of them are really good. But if they were to find some way to... and obviously Hugh Jackman's not going to tell you if he's in these movies. Why would he tell you? That would ruin the surprise. Or that, that's an actor's job to keep secrets and stuff like that. And so even if they had him as like a real old man Logan, I know Logan was kind of like the old man Logan, but if they had him as a real old man Logan, then people would lose their shit for sure.
Yeah, I'm going to go through, I'm going to read it's not loading. I was going to read the synopsis for this movie because it's the reason why it starts off in Japan is during the war is the Wolverine saves a soldier who ends up being an incredibly powerful and wealthy man in Tokyo.
In Japan.
And that's kind of when the movie becomes something like it almost becomes just a thriller in a really interesting, like, Man on Fire way, where they are wanting to steal this powerful man's daughter or granddaughter. And there are huge action sequences, but you almost forget you're even in the X-Men world, other than the fact that Wolverine's running around.
It's basically like a mutant thrown in the middle of a criminal underworld battle.
Yeah,
also like it makes the one mutant that's at the heart of this that much more special because you're like, and then at the end, that's why I feel it feels so different at the end because you have like 6 mutants under the same roof, and you're like, what the fuck is going on?
You do have some mutants.
It was grounded.
Silver Samurai,
exactly, and you have was it not Mariko, the other one,
Viper.
No, the girl who sees the future.
Yukio,
yeah, exactly. Hi, Yukio. Deadpool. But it's a different Yukio.
She's a precog.
But nice. Minority Report. John hasn't seen it.
Oh shit! Okay,
he doesn't get that reference.
We were just talking about it.
I understood that reference.
I know exactly what the hell
the balls.
John doesn't know. He did the ball.
The balls are coming, John.
But and I forgot what I was saying.
No, but.
No, but there are other mutants in it, but
that's why I think that's what you were saying is that, like, wow, like you forget that it's like the Dark Knight where you're like, oh, it's just a crime movie with Batman in it.
They take his healing factor away, which means he's able to be hurt by Yakuza members.
To be honest, I'm surprised he's not dead within the first shotgun blast because I would have been like, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God.
I kind of like...
I guess he still has the adamantium skeleton.
Yeah,
that's reinforced.
And that is a huge part of the movie. So we talk about,
So nothing pierces organs. I just realized that. Like, if they were to shoot him in the heart, he can...
It's all a flesh wound.
Yeah,
but one of the biggest parts of this is they are trying to take the power of regeneration from Wolverine. That's why there's the Viper scientist lady.
AKA, fun fact on the tangent. The Viper is actually based off of a very popular MCU character named Madam Hydra,
and she is in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
She is in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. as her actual self because Marvel owns the rights to the actual. But she is retooled as Viper for this X-Men movie.
On the green tones.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird because she does it in the movie too, where she's wearing a bunch of green, and you're like, "This is weird." Yeah, like no one else has costumes on it besides the Silver Samurai. But
it's kind of weird because there's also, I mean, when we talk about Viper, she sheds skin in this. She literally licks people. She's poisonous.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Here she comes.
But basically, that's the action. Well, I don't know. What do you think the internal conflict for the Wolverine is in the movie that we're talking about right now?
I watched a little bit of the the commentary with Mangold on it and then I turned it off because I wanted to watch the movie.
Yeah.
Well, you can also get it from it because also when I was following the production of the movie, he basically listed all these Western movies, like Outlaw Josie Wales,
which you see in Logan
and
a lot,
stuff like and then you see he basically pulled the internal conflict of some of these loner characters from cinema's past, and pulls that as the central conflict of the movie, which is I was gonna say Delphin, Wolverine or Logan doesn't know. He's very conflicted inside because at this point he's kind of played as a very frustrated character because he can't die. And that's, I think, at the heart of the movie. Like, everything he touches kind of dies. Everything he's involved with dies. And
that's why we see Jean Grey a lot.
Right. Yeah, and then
the bear at the beginning.
He's very removed.
The bear that he loves. You're right. Yeah.
Me and John were watching, or you say we were watching
the Mangold.
Yeah. So he ends up saying that, like, the bear and him, obviously you don't see it, but they used to play a game. Like, the bear used to mark it on the trees.
That's why we see that
and
moment.
He would mark it on the trees, like, the opposite.
Yeah.
And so
God, that's honestly saddest death the whole movie.
He's grew to, like, obviously care for the bear. And that's why he sees it, and they don't do anything to each other.
I saw that. Yeah,
they're both wild animals, and they're both a big thing. But
that's also a comic reference. Like, every animal knows that Logan is a more dangerous animal,
and also he's a Wolverine. But also,
this beginning is a Western.
But also, it's foreshadowing, like of the thing, like someone's gonna try to do it to him, like
Yeah,
but so like the theme of
so good, so deep.
The theme of the story, and this is what makes it very different from, I think, X-Men Origins or any of the other X-Men movies. It's a very crazy, at least to a certain point of this movie. It's a very crazy character study on what's happening to Logan inside, because like, again, the movie struggles with, or Logan in this movie struggles with him kind of wanting to be alone, but some sort of internal calling that makes him want to do the right thing.
And the whole reason why he goes to Tokyo is because of something that happened in his past. Something he's obligated to do because of honor or whatever, which is a very Western
It's very
idea.
Western, and you can tell like he's very annoyed about it, but he still goes anyway. So like that's the internal calling that we were talking about. Like, he needs to do something right.
And he doesn't want to get close to anyone else. But he does in the movie.
And he has no choice because it's, again, he could have chose to not
engaged at all.
During that funeral where they all start shooting each other and stuff.
Yeah.
He could have chosen not to do that, but he does it anyway. And it's like, it's like almost like it's a very Western trope where, like, no one is doing this, someone has to do it anyway. Why not me? Because I have nothing to lose or this or that.
I'm going to die. And then that's where the weakness, like the actual physical weakness, comes into play, because he is losing that ability to regenerate. Or he loses it. He loses the ability
lose it for a majority of the movie.
And that's where the weakness lies. And is this the first time? I feel like this is the first time we've seen that.
Yes, movie-wise, yes.
Movie-wise, yeah. Because before this, he always had that regeneration thing.
They've always used Magneto, because he's a very strong character by himself. Yeah. And so they need to keep him in check. And so it's kind of like
he needs that weakness.
It's the Avengers Infinity War thing where
like, it's not Sabretooth who heals like him, it's like Magneto.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, because like you kill him and he comes back, and like you can't not kill him. And so it's
when he fights Sabretooth, but that's the thing, is like when Sabretooth is also a person that you can't
but
kill.
Again, it's even the odds. And so it's like, again, in Infinity War Endgame, where we need to get the Vision and Doctor Strange and Scarlet Witch out of there quick, because then they just kick Thanos out. And so it's the same thing where, like, now how do we find a way to make him flawed almost, because he's perfect. And
he's fucking ripped. He's so hot.
Well, and even when he's homeless, I was like, he almost picked up that cashier when he was homeless.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
He was like, hey, baby,
I need some batteries.
And then those girls giving him a bath, they liked it.
But yes, you're right.
They're just scrubbing him down.
It is a way to kind of ground him, and it is the first time you see it here in actual form,
because we see it definitely in Logan. I think we're going to talk about Logan. We have to at some point, because this is the precursor to that. Like, Logan is a straight up Western, and this is kind of, and James Mangold, who made 3:10 to Yuma. Like,
we are going to talk about Logan.
I'm sure it's like one of the better ones.
I thought we did that for RTS. Let's just get out of the way here. Yeah. The only reason I chose the Wolverine, because I'm the one who kind of made the suggestion here about the Wolverine, is the obvious choice is we didn't want to do X-Men Origins.
Yeah.
And I think Logan would have been a little too good. Like, as in, like, I think, and I also think that we may have, I also think we may have actually spoken about Logan on RTS possibly. But the thing is, like,
be a good one to end with.
The Wolverine is the the black sheep of the crew because of Logan's too good, and I think I told you even in text message while we were watching this, the Wolverine seems like it was a test for Mangold to see what he can do, and then he executed everything that he wanted to actually do in Logan. As opposed to the Wolverine.
There's a lot unique about this movie as compared to the other ones. I mean, obviously it's set in Japan with some of the best actors in Japan, but you get even just the setting is huge. Guillermo del Toro, I just read this right now. This isn't off the dome, but Guillermo del Toro wanted to make this movie because it's his favorite moment in the Wolverine,
the Japanese storyline,
in the lore.
Yeah, Darren Aronofsky was. I remember following this. Darren Aronofsky, when he got signed onto it, because he actually physically signed on himself, I was blown away because I
was so
Black
pumped.
Swan. At the time I was a huge Aronofsky fan. I still am. Shit. Sorry, I don't know what I was like at the time.
Yeah, but I don't think he's done anything close to this before.
Well, he's signed on to a Batman movie. He signed on to a Wolverine.
Yeah.
He signed on to multiple superhero movies. He's never followed through. Like he's always dropped out.
The only reason he didn't want to do it was because it was not filming in America.
Here, it had to be in Japan.
How would have fucking moved?
The thing is, but imagine
NBD. I'll leave right now.
And Christopher McQuarrie had written the screenplay for that. This was rewritten, obviously, by Mangold and other people.
So that's another big thing with, as we're talking about X-Men, but as they try to get through development to all these different types of X-Men movies, they tend to Frankenstein some things. Like they'll take parts of this plan. I think we talked about this with First Class. They'll take some parts of the story that they were developing in another movie and throw it into this one. And so it's really interesting to see this movie before Logan, because I mean a lot of the sequences in this are directly used in later Wolverine movies. All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna play a game, and cool.
Oh, before we take a break, let me go down the cast list before my phone dies. That's why. Also, my phone is going to die, so if we need our phones...
So now we have postponed the break because of battery usage.
For game, I can't use my phone, so it's going to be all memory. Do I need to use my phone?
No, sorry. I just got 7 notifications on here.
Oh, okay. So you got Hugh Jackman as the obvious Wolverine, Logan. We have Hiroki Sanada as Shingen Yashida. I'm going to try to really pronounce these Japanese names right.
If you want me to hop in here, I can help you out.
How would you do it?
I obviously know more Japanese than you do.
Damn.
Emmanuel's Asian, folks.
Tao Okamoto.
What? You never told me.
Where's the mirror in here? Anyway, Tao Okamoto as Mariko Yashida, excuse me. And Rila Fukushima as Yukio.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Famke Janssen as Jean Grey. That was an easy one to pronounce. Will Yun Lee as Harada. In the comics, he
you didn't
is
even try to read his first name. You fucking pussy.
Kenichiro Harada, I guess.
This is the Russian actress. You're trying to say her name.
Can you say her name?
Okay. Svetlana Kodchenkova.
As Viper.
Is that for real?
Yeah,
I thought he made it up.
Harukiyo Yamanouchi as the Silver Samurai and Old Man Yashida. And then Brian T as Noburo Mori, who Brian T is actually... I've seen Brian T in other movies too. You have Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen doing some cameos as Professor X and Magneto.
Ooh, spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
But there we go. And that's the cast roll call for this movie.
I think that's part of what is interesting, or what's really cool about this is there's obviously a lot of lore around Wolverine, but there's even more lore with the family, the Yoshida family, with the ninjas and the all of the underbelly. Obviously we know about the Yakuza from everything, but that's also what makes this movie a really rich exploration. It's not just henchmen. It's grounded in some history and some really insanely fun things. True. Swords and shit. All right, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna take a break right now. Welcome back to the podcast. We're doing the Wolverine trivia game. This is really exciting. We'll be testing your knowledge on Hugh Jackman and Wolverine.
Ooh, sometimes at the same time or no?
Sometimes two at once.
One in the front, one in the back, John.
Oh, shit.
We got to cover the exit and the entrance, buddy. And the loser will have to read a monologue from the Mount Rushmore of robot movies, Real Steel, starring Hugh Jackman.
Oh, shit.
Oh, my God.
You like that movie? He's a farmer.
I thought you had a speech that was like...
You really did...
your research on Hugh Jackman.
I sure did.
You really love Hugh Jackman.
Why didn't you like pull off Swordfish or something? Like, you know,
He said, "Why didn't you pull off Swordfish?"
My favorite monologue by a robot is the ending of every
Bicentennial Man?
No, the ending of every Transformers movie where Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
He recaps the entire movie.
that's your favorite robot monologue.
Yeah.
You're like, it's up there with 2001 Hal.
It's
Wally,
followed
C-3PO.
followed by some Linkin Park blasting in the background.
I've become so numb.
Yeah, my name is Optimus Prime, signing off from Earth.
Well, stay here for a little bit.
Is that Sean Connery?
into the Allspark no ticket. Here we go. So here's what I'm going to do. You will each get a turn answering this question. You choose between Hugh Jackman or a Wolverine question.
Oh, okay.
So you will get to choose which one you think you're a little bit more in tune to.
Actually,
So
this would be-
wait, say it again.
So you get to choose between
when it's your turn, you get to answer, and there's no chance to steal. You just have a chance at a point to answer a question for either Wolverine or Hugh Jackman.
Oh, I get you the animal. Like, you're gonna name like forest facts, like they take 2-pound shits a day, and you're like Hugh Jackman or Wolverine. I guess because I was like, they're the same person.
Both.
Yeah. All right, you go. All right, I get it. Go ahead.
You know what? We'll start with Andrew then.
Ooh.
Andrew, would you like a Hugh Jackman question or a Wolverine question?
A Wolverine question.
All right, here we go.
I should have picked Hugh Jackman. He's gonna do some super crazy obscure thing.
Name another member of the Weasel family.
Oh shit! I knew it. It was gonna be the animal. I fucking called it. Of the Weasel family.
The Weasel family.
a weasel.
It would not.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I was like,
Besides
a
Weasel, God, you fucking bitches. Name another member of the Weasel family.
I actually.
A possum. No, I don't know.
Is it your final answer?
Is that your final answer?
You're like, don't do it.
Let me just tell you, possums are marsupials. So remember, they have little pouches. I know that's
said marsupial.
They are.
Damn. Why do you know? Have you been watching National Geographic on Disney Plus?
How
do you know this?
I've been living National
I
Geographic.
love that. Like, how do you have an education?
Yeah,
What?
I know. Yeah, exactly. What the fuck?
Andrew, I'll let you try one more time.
mammal?
Another member of the weasel family. Think of all the animals in the whole world, some that you might even see
A raccoon.
in your backyard.
What the
No.
fuck?
Jesus Christ.
I said a possum.
Andrew, no.
Possums and raccoons.
so we got to-
Here we go.
Skunk.
He's got it wrong.
Yeah, you got it
Where
wrong.
am I going?
Skunks, otters, badgers, or ferrets are all in the weasel family. You're naming...
I thought you were talking about like a different type. Like Jesus Christ, I don't know.
All right.
Okay.
John, would you like a Wolverine question or...
John, now you know which one to
Hugh
pick.
Jackman
or Hugh
question.
Jackman?
Definitely.
And just so you know, once we run out of Hugh Jackman questions, they're all Wolverine
Okay,
questions
so
because I know you bitches are going to...
Now we're all just gonna go ham on Hugh Jackman because
You want a Hugh
we don't know-
Jackman?
You
Yes,
think we
I
go
do.
outside? We podcast inside. You think we podcast outside?
I haven't been outside in months.
Yeah, exactly.
Hugh Jackman won this award for his role in The Boy from Oz.
Oh shit. This is tougher
What the
than-
fuck?
John, take that. Take that.
Hold on, no. Hold on. Like, say it
Hugh
again.
Jackman won this award for his role in The Boy from Oz.
A Tony.
Yes, he won a
Okay,
Tony.
Yeah.
Damn it.
All right, cool.
All right. Cool.
Andrew, Wolverine, or Hugh Jackman?
Hugh Jackman.
All right, cool. Which film was for what film did Hugh Jackman earn his very first Oscar nomination for Best Actor?
Oh.
Damn it. John would know this.
I would know this. I think. Actually, I think I know this. I'm not sure if I know this.
See, those animals don't seem so bad now, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
'Cause some of them.
Well, I'm trying to like scan into like
his whole-
yeah.
Was it real steel?
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, no
Why
way.
the fuck is it? Come on, Drew. This is like staring you in the face.
Les Miserables?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay,
Wow, isn't that crazy? I thought he would have been nominated much
cool. No,
earlier,
but that's why that's the
Kinda
trick
wild.
question. Is like, whoa,
Here's the funny thing. I was about to give him a wrong answer. I was going to say Australia.
nah.
oh god, that John.
Now I know that I'm not even gonna follow what the fuck you're saying. What the
Hugh
fuck?
Jackman or Wolverine?
Hugh Jackman.
All right, here we go. How many older siblings? Sorry, I like weirdly had a weird stroke. How many older siblings does Hugh Jackman have?
4.
Yeah. How the fuck do you know that?
He just saw his Wikipedia probably earlier today.
probably.
Earlier today or yesterday.
Andrew, would you like a Jackman,
Hugh
or a
Jackman.
Wolverine? Okay, here we go. Again, we're gonna do some Wolverines.
Oh, you're gonna have no choice but to pick Wolverine. Give me a Wolverine question. Go
Okay,
ahead.
no. We'll do Hugh Jackman. No, let's do it. Hugh Jackman
Jackman.
wants to produce and star in a movie based on Bill Bixby the actor who played which other?
That's easy as
MCU?
Oh, the Hulk.
Yeah, cool. You got it.
I was trying to think. I was like, who the fuck is Bill Bigby? Nice. I got
John,
it
you
in
want
my
a
memory
Wolverine
banks.
or a Jackman?
I'll take a Wolverine question.
Whoa, all right.
Alex.
All right. The Wolverine's sense of smell is uncanny. It can detect a carcass lying how many feet under the snow?
This is why I picked Hugh Jackman question.
Yeah, how many feet under the snow can a Wolverine's... Hold on, let me read it again.
Hey, hold
4
on.
feet. The Wolverine's sense of smell is uncanny.
Like
How many
X-Men,
feet?
X-Men. 4 feet.
No.
Okay.
It is
See, he was making fun of me for not knowing that.
the weasel thing.
Yeah.
Yours was easy, though. You just
Was
needed
it?
to name
Yeah,
one
yours
other-
is easy.
You were like, it's in my backyard. I was like, Apollo?
20 feet. Isn't that insane? Wow.
That is insane.
The sense of smell is uncanny.
It's only in snow? Or
uncanny, like the uncanny X-Men.
can they smell dead bodies in regular dirt?
Andrew, do you want a Wolverine question?
Hugh Jackman.
Okay. Okay. What horror franchise made Hugh Jackman want to play or want to be an actor? Which horror franchise?
Huge Mac-Man?
And I have no clue what the question. No, just kidding.
What he watched? He was a fan of this horror franchise, and it made him want to be an actor. Growing up,
Of this horror.
so you know it's not Insidious or something.
It has
recent.
to be something old, yeah.
What's
Drew.
Halloween?
close? Friday the 13th.
Damn it!
That's what made him want to be an actor?
Yeah.
I know, that's
he
what-
wanted to.
yeah,
he
I
wanted to
know.
be Jason. Isn't that crazy?
Fuck you.
That's
Hugh
fucking
Jackman.
scary.
what I
Can
was
you
trying-
imagine Hugh Jackman as Jason?
He'd be grunting and growling every
I'd
time he
bend over.
slashes you.
Oh, shit.
John, you want a Hugh Jackman or do you want?
Yeah, I'll take a Hugh Jackman.
All right. Oh, let's see. Oh, this is the last one.
I picked Wolverine because I thought it was going to be comic questions.
Is Hugh Jackman nearsighted or farsighted?
Really?
Yep.
Fucking hell.
Nice.
Farsighted.
No, he's nearsighted. All right, Andrew. All we have left are
Shut the
Wolverine
fuck
questions.
up. Are you for real?
Yep.
Why did you do this?
Because one of the
why did you
questions
set
is
us
too
all
easy.
up? Okay, go ahead. Why? No, ask me the easy question then.
The Wolverine's scientific name is Gulo Gulo, which is Latin for what?
What the fuck? Like one of them was clearly like the losing side. Like I can't wait to ask them all these fucking. Goddamn, was Latin for what?
Gulo Gulo.
Yeah, like what is that Latin
Here's
for?
what I'll tell you. It's one of the 7 deadly sins.
Oh shit! Well,
Actually, should be fairly easy now that I've said Gulo Gulo.
gluttony.
Yep. You got it.
I'm winning
Apparently, Wolverine's appetites were insatiable, so they would just eat.
until they pop like fish.
Yeah, you just see them exploding everywhere.
All right, I'll take a Wolverine. Oh, I mean,
What is the biggest threat to Wolverines in the wild, John?
I think
I would say 1985 Soviet soldiers because the Wolverines were a team in Red Dawn.
Nice.
So your final answer?
Yes.
You
No,
think
it's
wrong?
climate change, you fucking cuck.
I thought you. I was gonna say snake. So
God. You could have been. All right.
I was gonna be like spiders.
Andrew, here we go.
Crickets.
Yeah.
Wolverines are polygamous. Successful mates will form lifetime relationships with up to how many females?
Oh shit. 7.
Holy fuck. No, the answer is 3.
Oh, nice. Damn, I thought they were just
They're
gonna
not
be
that
hoes.
polygamous then.
I thought they could be. Yeah,
John,
exactly.
this is the last question.
That sounds like fun.
Do Wolverines...
What?
Do Wolverines...
Are you making this question up as you read
let's
it?
see. Let's see. Do
give me a second.
Wolverines hibernate?
Fuck.
No,
no,
the answer is
they
not
don't.
fuck.
They don't hibernate.
Yes, that's a point for me.
Well, you guys are tied at 3, so
Are
I
we
guess we're
really?
going to have to go to this really easy one, and the person who answers it first will have to win.
First?
Yep. Here we go. Hugh Jackman has played Wolverine in so many movies. The only other actor to have
Robert
played
Downey Jr.
a character... Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay, well then I guess I lose.
All right.
The only character who is like more or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, so you're going to have to read this in Hugh Jackman's Australian accent. I know that might be difficult, but
Yes.
I don't care.
Really? This is the best.
This is a line.
From Real Steel,
From
John.
Real
John,
Steel.
you gotta get into the fucking persona. You're gonna
All right,
read it
hold
with
on.
a manual too.
I
No,
need
it's
to.
a monologue, so it's just him.
Oh shit. Damn.
My new film, Real Steel.
Australia.
I'm hungry.
That's not a knife.
After this, do you have one of those bars I can have?
What?
Yeah, you can have this one.
Oh, you're hungry?
I have another
open
bar.
up.
Fuck, John just opened his mouth and he said, "You can have this one."
He was regurgitating food there.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's have some noises of a junkyard.
All right, so Hugh Jackman. So I have to get into Hugh Jackman.
That's not a knife. Australia.
Good eye, mate.
Foster.
Really kick his ass. All right, cool.
Kick his ass.
All right. You don't want to talk? Right. Fine. I'll talk. What do you want me to say? I'm sorry. No, you knew. You know from day one what this was. You decided to take the ride. I mean, what? You actually thought me, you and the little robot from the junk heap were going to ride off into the sunset? Come on. No, you forgot who I was. You deserve better than me. Will you say something, please? I'm reading this all continuous, sorry. I tried, okay? I mean, what do you want from me?
Wow.
Nice.
That's rough.
Does he have an Australian accent?
No, he doesn't. So
Why did you fucking...
I know, he
I just
probably
thought
has an
it'd be harder.
American
Yeah, he doesn't. He has a good one, too. Oh, Oklahoma. All right, guys. Well,
I thought about it. I was like, they wouldn't tell him, like, come
That's
on.
totally true, yeah.
yeah, he doesn't have one. Guys, go look in your backyard. Tell me what kind of weasels you see back there.
And then email us all those pictures.
Email them to Andrew, because he has no fucking idea what a weasel is.
Yeah. I don't know. I was trying to think of long animals like possums or like weenie dogs.
Like a Pokemon? Like birds?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Bye. Welcome back from that break. Oh boy.
What do you do during the break?
Yeah, tell us what you do during the break, everyone.
I don't know. For us, it's literally like a 30-second pause.
Yeah.
What do you guys do?
And recently, I haven't been putting anything in the break when I'm editing.
So it's just
not really a break.
Yeah. I don't want to put ads in there. I'm like, that's too many ads. I already do one in the beginning. It's fine.
Also, like all the ads have shut down since.
Yeah, there's nothing coming in. Guys, go to Patreon. We need it.
Pay for our rent, guys.
Okay.
I'm just playing. Don't do it.
Well, I want to talk about this because I want to ask you guys this question about this movie and maybe how it relates to the comic books. The villain in this movie seems to be Viper for a long time until we realize it's actually the Silver Samurai. Mm-hmm. And we also further realize it's his friend from
the beginning of the movie.
Yashida,
Wow.
yeah.
Twister.
Old man Yashida.
And he's trying to suck his
life
forces.
out of it, suck his bone.
Really suck his bone marrow.
Yeah, trying to suck him off.
What? Okay. Try. What is his significance in the comic books? Is he a substantial villain? This Silver Samurai?
The Silver Samurai in the comics is a different character altogether. I think that they switch characters. The character who's supposed to be the Silver Samurai is actually in this movie. Harada, the archer in this movie. In the comics, he's the actual Silver Samurai. He's actually a mutant who can apparently heat his sword up. That's his power. That's kind of weird. But he is the Silver Samurai in the original comic books, the storyline. Old Man Yashida. I don't think Old Man Yashida is a thing, if I remember correctly. I think I read this book right before this movie came out, so in 2013. I remember Shingen Yashida being the actual villain, which means, like, the guy in this movie has a son, like the old man has a son. The son is the actual main villain. Like, there was no grandfather in the original books. Like, there's kind of, they split that character in two.
And the son is a villain in this, in a weird way.
Yes, he is. And it kind of echoes,
but like a separate villain, right?
Right, yeah. Like, he's kind of like a secondary villain, and he kind of, but that's the main thing from the comics. And the Silver Samurai comes from, the Silver Samurai comes from the books too, but it's in this movie, it's heavily modified into like a giant like adamantium suit, which is not completely accurate. But
and you were saying
you get the gist of it.
You said that as you watched that part of the movie, you felt like it suddenly was different,
out of place. Yes, because it does come from everything in the movie. Seems like it was kind of shot, or at least like kind of heavily made to be look like it was shot on location. Like everything is like it's in Tokyo. You got these giant, grand Japanese landscapes, which Mangold said like he wanted to incorporate that because he was a fan of, like, he wanted to throw some actual authentic Japanese stuff into this movie. So like he took influence off of obviously westerns and stuff for the character of Logan, but he did look into Japanese classic cinema, like for influence on the landscapes and the the geography of the whole.
And it really informs
movie.
the action moments in this movie a lot. They were
definitely.
Yeah, I mean, like
the bullet train.
The
bullet
really
train
fun.
sequence is really, really cool. Them just running around, Tokyo, which is like, you got these giant buildings and.
I'd hate to inform you though that last moment in the movie filmed in Sydney, Australia, on the Fox lot, baby.
Yeah, I would imagine so. I don't know why you had to go for the voice on that one.
Shrimp on the barbie.
But the last piece of this movie does feel out of place for me because it is kind of like a weird. It's like you kind of have to hit the tropes. So everything has to be. The last piece of this movie is really over the top for me. Even coming towards, you said that you didn't watch the extended edition. Drew and I watched the extended edition, which there's an added ninja fight during the snow. During this little.
I thought there was that when he was all shot up with arrows and shit.
Yeah, exactly. But there's an extended. I'm not sure if you may have actually gotten an extended version in edited form, but like there's an actual giant fight with multiple ninjas that Wolverine does, and that. It's kind of getting there to where it's over the top. You can tell why it's kind of deleted scenes or was added to the extended edition because it's very bloody and gory. And it's like kind of, again, a far cry from what actually happened. But this is where you start to see the C's where the movie's kind of going off into like a checklist. Like we got to get the final fight out of the way. And you go from open world geography from the scenes that were filmed before. Like, mostly everything before was filmed either outdoors or, other than the train sequence and stuff. Basically like filmed out in the open in broad daylight. And this last act basically takes place in a lab. Very, cool tones.
Like Fantastic Four style.
Right, yeah. And then giant CG, like, mech suit. And it's it just feels very, very weird from what came before.
It is weird.
And at that point, he had gotten his power.
He got his power back, yeah. I just think like because the whole movie was like a character piece, and obviously because it's a superhero movie, you have to hit certain notes. It's inevitable for anybody.
Wow.
Yeah, he's got his mouth full of balls. Yeah, no, John, you're definitely right. Well, and also you need someone in a position of power to be able to challenge something as crazy as Wolverine.
Because everything has to culminate in some sort of physical fight. Because Wolverine is a very physical character who slashes things and stuff.
And also, part of it seems lackluster because of how many samurai fights or like ninja fights there already are. And it's an interesting
They're way
concept.
better than the one that actually happens at the end.
Even when it's just one samurai. It's very interesting.
Samurai?
Yeah, well, because he puts on the samurai armor.
That's true. Yeah. Oh yeah, Shingen.
Yeah, and
that should have been the final battle. Like if that.
Oh yeah,
I remember that.
And so it's straight out of the books. It's super amazing. But
fighting in silhouettes.
I don't understand.
It's a very interesting concept in itself. Like on how it came about. Imagine how this idea came about. Like, hey, Wolverine's got knives on his hands, right? Well, what would be cool for him to fight? Fucking swords.
Samurai swords.
Yeah, exactly. And so it ends up kind of, I think, stemming from there, hopefully, because that's a really cool idea in itself.
What was the purpose of the actual suit being built? I maybe that part got glossed over.
That's what I told John. He was like, the suit's the only thing keeping me alive. I was like, it's adamantium. Like, it doesn't. The adamantium doesn't help
Wolverine
you.
Well, the adamantium, I think, was like
the healing was there before.
It was I don't know what gives the adamantium the healing power because everything's attached to him. Like the adamantium is indestructible. So like if Wolverine were to like catch wind of this early plan, you can't just slash the Silver Samurai to
That's
pieces.
what I was wondering because they also made the samurai suit seem battle ready in a weird way. Does that make sense? And I was like, whoa, why did they build
it's
this
like an
thing?
incubator. It's an incubator for the
But then he has that sword.
He says he built it to take the gift that he wouldn't give. And so he knew that he was going to have to like take it by force.
Yeah.
And so but again, that doesn't explain on why like he's
really
old age.
interesting.
Like he's really old. Like he should be dying of natural causes, or I don't know why the adamantium's keeping him alive. Well, and in a way, the MCU did it way better, where like vibranium is in the ground and it affects the minerals that we grow.
Your cells.
Yeah, exactly.
It can be used for everything.
They found a way to use it and not just make it some sort of metal,
which is probably with
nothing like that.
Which was probably thinking that though, because again, vibranium and adamantium are kind of close cousins in the comics, like literally
in the fake science
kissing cousins.
Right. Well, yeah, because I was telling someone was watching the Wolverine with us yesterday when we watched it, and I was saying like if anyone remembers, also the listeners too.
Yeah, it was Craig. Shout out Craig. He's been on the pod before.
He's not listening.
He listens.
X-Men Origins Wolverine. There is a part where they're trying to find adamantium, and they find it in a meteorite in Africa, kind of like because in the comics, it's the same fucking shit.
Wakanda.
Kind of like Congo.
The movie with the gorillas?
The movie with the gorillas. Remember those diamonds are special.
Is that what happens in that movie?
Oh, you haven't seen it?
I've seen it, but it was way too young. I just remember
Congo ripped off Black Panther. Like,
I remember those gorillas clapping human cheeks like
Scary
crazy.
as fuck. They're albino gorillas that for some reason like to eat people.
They pound that ass.
Yeah. Ooh, scary movie. Ooh.
Anyway, but yeah, like
ground beef.
Vibranium and
I would
adamantium.
be so scared. I'd just bend over.
Stop saying that. Stop saying that.
Vibranium and adamantium are kind of almost the same thing in the. Oh shit! Like I sort of, if we're to get any comic purists, they're probably going to hate me after this. But you know, they're kind of like used around the same. They complement each other in the comics, and obviously in the movies, because one's MCU and one's Fox, they can't do that. And I think that's where the idea probably came from with the adamantium.
And those details are so specific to even names. Like they can't say the word.
Oh yeah, like even Viper. Like Viper is
They
Madam
can't say
Hydra.
it. Yeah, they can't say it.
Madam Hydra. Yeah,
No. But yeah, what else?
So that last act is a bunch of weird stuff there.
Yeah,
I think,
we
we can talk a little bit more about the preceding acts because those are a little bit better. I like the fact that like it's kind of a detective story of like finding out why the fuck this is happening.
It takes him by surprise. Him losing his powers kind of takes him by surprise initially because he's reacting to the pain and not the recovery.
Right,
and he's like, "Whoa!"
Well, he's reacting to the pain.
Whoa.
He also seems a little bit too headstrong too because he's like, you know. He still believes he's indestructible even when he's not. He doesn't have his powers, and I think it's a very.
Yeah.
It says to what Wolverine, or at least the character that Jackman plays in the
willpower.
movies,
Yeah.
who he is, because like you know he's obviously taking no for an answer. He keeps getting shot, which that would have been my first like red flag. Like stop fighting.
It hurts and nothing's changing.
Exactly. Nothing's happening.
And I think that train sequence is probably when he's fighting at his like lowest because he's straight up bleeding out everywhere.
And like on a bullet train.
I think that's where the granddaughter, because the granddaughter, not just, I'm not even talking specifically romantically, but is the calming presence for Wolverine, because that's always, I don't want to say it's a trope, but it's a recurring thing. He's lived forever, but he always needs someone to, he needs the human connection or a sensitive side.
And we see him like kind of latching on to his previous connection, which is Jean Grey. In this movie, yeah.
Unsuccessful.
Because it is, this movie does take place after X-Men The Last Stand, so they keep that continuity.
There's a Phoenix out there somewhere flying around.
There definitely is. They keep that continuity, but you're right. Like he does need something human to latch onto, and in this story, it does bloom into a love story between him and Tao Okamoto's character, Mariko.
And the precog, what was her name? What's her?
Yukio.
It is interesting how Yu-Gi-Oh has
Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yukio. How do you think the ending was with Yukio? Because it feels like he found a sidekick, or he found at least a partner. And when I saw the beginning when she kind of beats up some of those bar people, I was like, wow, this is really interesting. Kind of. It's an interesting like buddy type thing, which of course doesn't happen. But I thought that afterwards, this is the movie that we were going to get.
Right. I think, you're totally right. I think the ending promised lots of things that we didn't really get, but that's, I think at this point, the producers themselves are kind of going with it. Like, it's the X-Men franchise. The next one's going to be fucking different anyway.
Yeah.
So,
because if not, Days of Future is before Logan, right?
It is, but it's also after this. Because the ending, did you see the after credit scene with Magneto and Professor X?
I saw it when it came out, but I don't remember what it was. I didn't.
Well, it's basically Professor X and Magneto coming to recruit him.
Let me paint you a picture. Wolverine's in front of a metal detector, like always. No, I'm just kidding.
But it's basically like an Avengers type of scene where like someone comes in like
he's coming in from the airport
you for something else.
And the girl's there?
No, it's Magneto.
He's coming in at the airport, and then
he sees a Task commercial.
He sees a Boulevard Trask commercial, and then like you see all the change and all like from the metal detector on those trays like lifting up.
You weren't joking. It was a metal detector.
And he turns around and he tries to stab whoever is there because he knows it's Magneto, and Magneto stops it because he still has metal all over his body. And then he basically says, hey, they're gonna kill our race. Like,
and that's the kicker. They're together.
Yeah, there's a thread, and then he's like, I don't trust you. And he goes, I know, and he lets him down. And it's Professor Xavier comes in.
You trust this guy?
Because everybody starts to rush Magneto, like the security, and everyone stops in the background, like freeze frame.
Because he stops time, or does that thing where he paralyzes everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't forget what the point was, but like basically that leads into.
He says there's like a weapon that's going to destroy our race.
Yeah, but it's also like, but the continuity, I think maybe we're talking about continuity. The continuity is muddled even more because if you remember correctly, in Days of Future Past, he has metal on his fucking claws again.
But he's got Magneto. He can just go to the Silver Samurai armor and just fucking like he can.
Magneto just
get it, put it back. Yeah.
Well, because he can liquefy the metal also because he just changes the particles inside it.
This is an interesting thing because this came out during when the MCU was around, and so it's really
a year after Avengers 1.
Wow, because this seems like that type of mid-credit scene, and if I'm not mistaken, X-Men normally doesn't even do.
They don't do that
mid-credit.
Actually, they do after credits, like after credit scenes.
It's true. We got to see the Phoenix.
Sort of. Actually,
the last stand over the water.
I mean, even
that may be in the movie. Actually,
they weren't tropes, though. I think they put them there as like I mean, Feige wasn't thinking like, oh, I'm going to adopt this for the MCU. I think he was just doing that shit for. Just doing that shit.
It's cool because the movie that comes after this is probably the biggest X-Men movie,
right? And it's
ever.
Still the best X-Men movie,
yeah.
Since
not
then.
Individual, but
because like Logan obviously takes that cake of being the best,
the best
X-Men IP movie. There you go.
Oh, what about Dark Phoenix?
What about it?
Oh, damn! I'm just kidding. But yeah, okay, cool. What else?
What else did we not talk about? I felt like there was just something on my mind about like the Jean Grey stuff we touched upon. I can't.
She got a paycheck.
No. It's the Jean Grey stuff is interesting again because like this is Mangold trying to conform to the continuity of what's actually happening while still making the movie his own. Yeah. I think he lets go of continuity entirely in Logan. Because, Caliban's in there, and Caliban just showed up in X-Men Apocalypse.
And I think he did learn a lot from... Because these action sequences, you talked about some that were deleted off, but a lot of these action sequences probably involved a lot of, like, wires, large groups. Like, he had to really understand how to shoot action in this movie. And Logan has some really fantastic sequences, albeit hard R, like hardcore people getting with blood and shit everywhere. But it seems like this was the proving ground for him to make what he really wanted to make, which is a Western, which is what we end up with Logan. Because you get those elements here, including the element of him even leaving, like Searchers-esque, John Wayne looking through the window and be like, I've got to go to my next thing now. I got to go back to the forest.
Right. And
that happens in this. And
he's like, I'm a soldier and I'm needed on the battlefield or some shit like that. What does he say? Yeah, I'm a soldier. I've been hiding for too long.
Yeah. Because earlier, I mean, that's his arc. And earlier it's like, you're a soldier. You just want to die. Like, find an arm dead. To this, which is a little bit more hopeful.
Exactly. And it is a cool, like, arc too, if you think about it. Like, he is from the beginning of the movie where he's kind of suicidal but doesn't know how to commit suicide since he can't die.
He can, yeah.
But at the end of the movie, he's found something, and it's never really, I mean, I guess you can specify, but he's found a new reason to live, even though you don't really get that reason, other if it's love for Mariko or if it's just because, like, he can do right things. Yeah. And he's the only one who can do it.
He's like, maybe I could save things that I love and then just leave them.
Yeah, because he does leave Mariko at the very end.
Like a cowboy, yeah.
Mariko tells him she should stay, and in the comic books, they actually get engaged.
Wow.
Him and Mariko Yashida.
I don't know why he wouldn't. I mean,
instead, he's looking at the younger Phoenix like, what's up?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, he can do whatever the fuck he wants. Like, he
just goes back.
He'll be around forever.
I don't know why he wanted to be going back to the X-Men. I was like, why didn't he just stay in Japan? Like,
he thought this life isn't. I liked all the action.
We're talking about all these. I mean, obviously he loves westerns and John Ford and stuff like that, but it makes me a little more excited because isn't he making the Indiana Jones movie now?
That makes me excited and a little bit sad because, again,
it's not going to be like the Indiana Jones you've ever seen.
That's the whole thing. Is like, I thought Indiana Jones was Spielberg, and what is it now?
Spielberg, Lucas. It's Lucas filling out all of the lore and the high concept stuff, and Spielberg breaking it down to be like,
this is
cinematic. Cinematic.
But now
that's
it's
a good dichotomy.
You add a third person to that list, and it's kind of crazy.
May not even care what George Lucas has to say. Does that make sense? Like, not that he doesn't care, but he's like, I do something specific.
But at this point, like, what are they going to be using? Like, it's Harrison Ford's bones at this point. Well, like, what's going on?
I think Logan gave him that movie because Logan is this iconic character. Wolverine. It wasn't
Ford versus Ferrari.
In one last hurrah, in a very kind of somber, and that's the only thing is Indiana Jones is a family movie, so it can't. It's not a hard R. It can't end with Indy. Maybe it can end with him dying, but
retiring.
But it's like a popcorn movie. So, I mean, you should be able to take kids to go watch Temple of Doom, but child slaves. But that's the thing. But I think Mangold has found. I mean, because even in a weird way, the rivalry of Ford versus Ferrari is somewhat Western, like two really big Once Upon a Time in the West type showdown movies. I think there's literally a showdown in the race, but I think that's kind of what will be good for the Indiana Jones franchise if it is to die with not Harrison Ford die, but if this is the last indie thing.
Right. One can only hope. I mean, it was delayed till 2022 now.
But I don't know. I was like, if this is probably closer than Logan is, the movie we just watched, The Wolverine, is probably closer to what his Indiana Jones would be, because this is at PG-13. It's accessible. It is set in a very specific place. But yeah, I don't know. I do still kind of hope to see the Indiana Jones tropes of can't be snakes or whatever. Or it's
I hate snakes at this point.
It's going to be supernatural. It's going to be the right amount of meta. But
you think it's going to be in the 60s or 70s at this point? 70s.
Do the math.
Be 70s.
It's going to be 2000.
It's going to take place in the 80s.
If it's like Logan, it's going to be in 2000. It's going to be real fucked up shit.
Present day.
Yeah. Present day.
Indy.
No one believes.
How are those bionic?
Can you imagine if no one believes the things that Indiana Jones has to say? They're like, that didn't happen to you.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the gas? Oh, that
would be a really cool angle on it. Imagine a Ty Cobb. Have you ever seen the movie Cobb with Tommy Lee Jones?
No.
He's telling the story from his recliner,
Big Fish style. Yeah.
Imagine Indiana Jones just saying that, and then he goes back and it's Chris Pratt or some shit.
Oh wow. Well, I mean, I think they should pass it on because I
definitely think they should have passed on that more so than they should have passed on Solo. The Solo character, not the movie, but yeah. Anyway,
that's a weird thing. We'll come to Countdown to Jones or whatever. Countdown to Indy.
Countdown to Indy,
where you won't need a ticket.
So I guess we're gonna get to some final thoughts.
Yeah, what are your final thoughts on the Wolverine?
I think
Wolverine.
The Wolverine. Shout out to James Mangold for having a diverse filmmaking background and even still keeping that up, because he's Girl Interrupted, Walk the Line.
Walk the Line.
And then going from movies like that to Night and Day, the Wolverine, Logan, and then Ford versus Ferrari. The dude's a master, or you can totally tell he's a master craftsman when it comes to filmmaking. So that's pretty awesome that he can dabble in all these genres and still make a good movie out of it. I mean, we talked about how weird that third act was, but I'm sure that was probably, I'm not sure obviously, but that's probably studio.
It was already set in stone.
Yeah. It was that was probably a sequence that was written in that you can't get away from.
And he was like, I don't know what the Silver Samurai is.
Yeah. But kudos to James Mangold for doing that. He kind of gave us a very good character-based movie before we got Logan. When it comes to superhero stuff, which is something you don't really see too often. It's very the movie is kind of rich up until a certain point, so I think it's pretty awesome, and it's a very step up. No offense to obviously to the people who worked on X-Men Origins Wolverine, because that's also in a way that's also good in its own right, when it comes to visual effects.
But it also is the reason why they didn't do any more Origins.
Right, exactly. Because
they're nah, we all originated.
Well, the whole thing is Wolverine is the flagship character, and the way Simon Kinberg said when he talked about Days of Future Past is that Hugh Jackman, as much as these team up movies back in the day were quote unquote team up movies, the star of the show was still Wolverine. He was the hero of the. And that's no one's fault other than the screenwriters or Bryan Singer or something who made the movie, is that they focus too much on Wolverine, but since they focus too much on him, you have to run with that. And I think the Wolverine did, and Days of Future Past and Logan did that, is because he was the central character of this franchise, at least at one point. So I think the Wolverine is a really cool stepping stone. It's one of the better X-Men movies. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely watch it. I'm not sure why you haven't seen it. If you're listening to this podcast, it's been out since 2013.
Yeah.
But a great flick, and you can totally tell what seeds were planted that will take hold in Logan, which is obviously the
ultimate.
It's the ultimate.
No, yeah,
the ultimate Wolverine movie there, and it's peak Wolverine. It's also the climax of the X-Men franchise, in my opinion.
Dark Phoenix.
I mean, Dark Phoenix says that it was, but I feel like it definitely peaked at Logan. So I felt like you should definitely do that.
I think that the last Wolverine solo outing wasn't as marvelous as this movie, so that's what had me worried at first. I remember saying like, "Oh man, they're gonna do it again, and they have the potential to making it worse." I don't know how much worse, but and then actually getting to watch this movie, I mean, it is one of my favorite ones because I do love the storyline in the comics. I think it's a really cool concept of like, you know, just any superhero fighting ninjas, I think is really cool. John Wick does it in his third movie, and it's like really
Wolverine
crazy.
In Japan, Wolverine in a Japanese action movie.
Just the aesthetic of it all, it feels very natural and very like you'd want to see something reimagined where it's like, oh, Wolverine back in the samurai age, you know, some time period esque thing.
That's cool.
Yeah, like an Elseworld story, and so
beating up a T-Rex.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Murdering the Mona Lisa.
Yeah, exactly. What if? But yeah, and so it's really, really cool to actually see it come to life with this one. Obviously, it was a stepping stone to the final and chapter of the character of Wolverine. But it is a really solid flick, and it to me, I think it's better than, again, most of the other ones. I think my favorite is Days of Future Past, but it is better than a lot of the other existing properties also, because I mean you have Deadpool also in that category too, and obviously New Mutants, which we'll never see again.
It's not going to happen ever. I think to your point, I feel like the Wolverine franchise got better as the time went on. It's kind of interesting, and then it ended.
But yeah, it's still. I mean, hopefully they should make him like the Stan Lee of like X-Men. Just put him in everything.
He's close.
Even if Marvel doesn't cast him as Wolverine, just fucking put him in.
Yeah, put Hugh Jackman in there.
Yeah,
put him in
like
Oklahoma.
What?
I think it's a testament to say that we can't really find someone who can replace him or do better in the role. Not to say that it won't happen. I'm sure it will, just like Spider-Man is reinvented often.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And it's only, because Wolverine's one of those characters that'll never die either.
Yeah.
I think
literally.
Well, the Marvel and DC stuff, I think will like live on forever.
Yeah.
Now, you know, people will redo them to death and stuff like that. But Wolverine's always going to be one of those characters that you bring back around because of what Hugh Jackman's done with the character, I think, for sure. And just made the whole character mainstream because, I mean, even before comic book movies were the thing, he was doing it. So that's, I'm talking like with the original X-Men, that we weren't in the age of like comic book movies back then.
No.
And now everything's based off of some sort of comic book property or whatever.
At some point, we'll talk about Logan, I'm sure, on the pod. So we have a lot more, I guess, memorializing to say about the Wolverine character.
For sure.
But it is special to see the character that we basically experienced the first X-Men movie with. It was mostly his point of view, the first X-Men movie, joining the Xavier school and trying to figure out where he fits in. So I think that this movie is just a special continuation of that. And it really shows just how to eliminate the high world-ending stakes of a superhero movie and really make it all about just one character in whatever turmoil he's going through. So yeah, really fun, really good movie. Cool.
Yeah.
Time to plug. What do you guys have to plug?
Listen to your Delphin Pod podcast. Listen to the new seasons of what the fuck are you doing? Listen to the new seasons of Cover Stories and Director Showdown from our friends across the
pond.
Not the pond. That crest across the digital pond.
Which we're talking about, Miller's Pond.
Exactly, yeah. There's some really cool shit going on there. And be safe. Obviously, wash your hands. Don't touch your face.
Ever.
Yeah, don't ever handshake again. And,
it's over now.
Yeah, take care of yourself. And thank you all Thank you all for continued support and listening to our silly little shows.
What John said, I'm furloughed.
I too.
It overlaps just like in real life.
I too am. I don't know. At the news media thing that I work at, they said that it was ending, and then they put something on Facebook saying they're looking for new funding. So I don't know what's happening.
Okay.
But yeah, listen to all your shows. Go to patreon.com/DelphinPod. Support the pod there. Exclusive content and early release shows. You can go to tpublic.com and search Delphin Pod to get some merch. The merch helps us as well. So if you want to get like a shirt or something, that is great. And sometimes they're on sale. I think right now they're $13, which is not bad for a shirt. But yeah, thank you guys so much. We'll see you later.
Later, guys.
Adios.